All right, so you guys all generally did very strong. There was no one who was a weak link on this last test. And I just wanted to go over a couple of errors that I saw and that we all go over them and understand why they are not good, right? So, first one is here. And so, if you notice here, what is the error? Well, the error is that we have a set of instance variables, right? And we have A, B, C, and we also have disk root 1, root 2, and then we have like an extra string variable. The reason why this is an error is because on the problem description it said only A, B, and C, right? So then we wouldn't. This is what this person was docked off for adding these additional instance variables. And then another thing is down here on toString, they use those instance variables to print out those values, right? Where instead what should have been happening and what this test was testing on was the fact that you can call these public classes here, right? So in order to print out root 1, what you would want to do instead of print out the instance variable root 1 is to run calculate root 1 right here, which would return root 1, which would make sure that the output is what we want it to be. So that's why this person here got docked off. And then another one is over here. And the reason why this person got docked off is because they have the instance variables, right, the ones that are allowed, and they didn't run the public methods here to get the determinant and the discriminant and root 1 and root 2. Instead, they used the calculation, and that's contrary to what is on the rubric. So so they got docked, and so what should have happened here is the same thing: is that they should have ran get discriminant. Is it get discriminant? Set discriminant. Oh, set discriminant is what they should have ran right here, right? Which would have returned the discriminant calculated using the sides of the triangle, and then they should have ran also calc root 1 right here and root 2 right here, which would have gotten the output to be according to the problem description. So that's why they were docked. Now here, what do we see? Okay, here. So what they did is that they used the class name period method name to run the method, right? And then in order to get that to work, they created a static. They set the method as static. So this is not the way that it should have been done. The way it should have been done is just run the method. So just run the method. Don't use the class name. Right? So what would have happened is it would have came here and said, okay, well, the calc discriminant method, it's right here. It's public. And it's going to do this calculation and return the value, which would have came out right here. So the reason why this person had trouble is because they had quadratic equation here, dot calc discriminant, and it was not static. It was just public. So it was the compiler gave an error and didn't let them run it. So what should have happened is that this quadratic equation class dot should have been erased. It shouldn't have been there. So that's for all of these. And yeah, so that's why this person got docked off. Last one here is why. Let's take a look. I don't see what's wrong with this. I don't see what's wrong with this. Do I see what's wrong with this? Oh, I'm sorry. This one is not, there's nothing wrong with this. This one is the way that it should have been done, okay? So to contrast the tests that were showed errors, this is one that didn't. We have our instance variables, there's 3 of them, right, as defined. We have our 0 argument constructor. We have our argument constructor. We have our get and getters and setters. We have our brain methods here. And we have our toString, which use the results of the brain methods to output to make the decision, right, on what to output, and also to output the values that were described in the problem description. So this one is perfect, right? So just a couple things to keep in mind as we move forward is that you want to read the problem description and follow it to a T, and calling public methods, calling methods in your class is as simple as just putting the name of the method and the two parenthesis signs, right? And one thing that should have been stated is that in the problem description, these classes here were you were ordered to make them public, right? But in actuality, these guys should have been private, right? I mean, everything should be private unless there's a good reason for it not to be. And so these guys should have all been private because there's no reason for them to have been calculated over in the main, right? Or to have been used in the main. And since they're only used by the toString, they should have been all private. So just a couple things to keep in mind, and overall, good job. Well, not overall, everybody, good job.